You have questions? We have answers. Welcome to the Therapist Question Box with your host, Miss Lindsay Schiss.
Welcome back to another episode of the Therapist Question Box. We are here to answer your tough mental health questions, so ask away. Honestly, what fuels this podcast and what makes it so great and relatable is your questions. So please ask and go to our website or to our podcast page. You can click on there and you can ask a question, and it's all anonymous, so ask away. Today we have a question that I think is really interesting, and we're lucky enough to have Kathy Kinghorn join us. Thanks for being here, Kathy.
It's going to be fun.
It is going to be fun.
I'm waiting for the question.
Buckle up. Here we go. So this is one that Kathy is an expert on, so I'm happy to have you here. Do you know what it is? Here we go. You're like, what am I an expert on? Okay, here's the question. Can a sex addict and their spouse truly build a healthy, happy marriage after treatment? So let's just very quickly, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So you are very clear on that. Yes.
Lindsay, I don't think you or I could be therapists if that was not solidly the answer, right?
Right.
Like, we don't want to get people a little bit better so life can be sort of manageable. What a terrible goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Isn't that the truth? Like,
yeah.
Why would we be doing this?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
We believe that there's healing and that it can be full healing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So why do you think this must be somebody, as I'm listening to this, that maybe has had sexual addiction, or their spouse has, and maybe is struggling to build that healthy, happy marriage? So what would you say to them if they're maybe they just found out, maybe they're in the middle of it? What would you say to, let's say this is a spouse that's maybe asking this question?
You know, what comes to my mind first really is hang on. Mm-hmm. Hang on to the strengths that are there in the relationship. And that includes hanging on to hope. And sometimes you have to just hang on that hope exists. Like, hope can be too big. Like, if I have to hope, it just feels too big right now. And if that's the stage you're in, try to just step back and go, all right, I can hang on to the belief that hope exists. And that can kind of soften you into staying out of hopelessness. Mm. And hopelessness, when we get to that spot, it's really hard to stick to our values.
Yeah, I think that's such an important distinction, and that I actually haven't thought about. Like, there is space between hopelessness and hope. Mm-hmm. And the space is that I believe hope exists. Mm-hmm. I'm not there. Yeah. I don't have hope yet, but I believe it's there somewhere. Yeah.
And it might be helpful to maybe identify what it does look like long term. Okay, we're out of the worrying about whether or not somebody's honest or can they keep and hold boundaries. Like, what is that end goal? What does it kind of look like?
So let's talk about that, because I think when we're talking about sexual addiction in a relationship, you're really saying this is a new relationship. Like, mm-hmm. We're trying to rebuild and say, what does the relationship now look like? That relationship, that first one is over.
Yep.
Right? So what does the second relationship 2.0 look like? So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Let's see. I think three things come to mind. One, and these are not in any particular order, but when somebody's actively in addiction, they're trying to prove to the world, I'm good. When they're telling themselves, usually, I'm bad. But there's a lot of proving. And then the partner is trying to prove that they're not crazy. So both people in that environment, there's a lot of proving. When you're on the other end of it, when you're in that new relationship, instead of proving, you're really improving together. You're constantly improving, and you're not afraid that you're not there yet. Whatever the there is. Like, let's say you want a healthy relationship with your partner's mom, and you're like, I'm not there yet, but I'm improving my side of it every day. But I'm staying away from trying to prove myself every day to my mother-in-law. I'm done with that. but I will look inside and improve myself every day. So the new healthy relationship, just a quick check on that. Both of you are improving. Neither of you are having to prove anything.
Oh, I love that. We're improving and not proving. That's a big distinction.
It really is.
Yeah. And probably a major shift, especially when a person is in addiction saying, I'm good, I'm enough, I'm okay, right? We're like, that's no longer happening.
And you know what it also introduces back in? When you're living with somebody with an active addiction, humor goes out the door. You don't have those shared jokes anymore. There's sarcasm, possibly, usually, right? But the fun, the
lightness.
Yeah. It's just gone. But if we're actively trying to improve, don't you think then that we're also failing?
Yes.
You know, I mean, so we're able to join each other in that. We're able to start a conversation and then stop it and go, oh my goodness, that was a train wreck. I mean, we started and then we just didn't land it. The landing was terrible. And you can laugh about it with more of a ease to it. It's like, the word we shows up in a really healthy way. We failed it, you know?
Yes.
Let's just have a do-over. So laughter and more of that we-ness part of the relationship comes back when you're improving.
So let's back up a little bit. When I'm hearing that and you're saying, wow, that was a train wreck, we had a terrible conversation, there really has to be, though, trust. And how do you gain trust back when there has been an addiction, a sexual addiction? It is so personal, right? It feels so personal to the partner. I mean, how can you go, oh yeah, I can joke with you, or I can say that conversation was a train wreck? Because boy, that requires trust that I would imagine has been blown to smithereens in a sexual addiction.
It does. And in the early part of recovery, it really is about learning how to be consistently honest. And that's the key, consistent honesty with empathy over time. And once you're consistent with it, and you're going to still default back sometimes under stress to blurting a lie. Your system kind of goes back to that survival. And
wait, tell us about blurting a lie. I've heard you talk about this and I want you to explain it a little bit.
So what happens when we're in survival and we're not really conscious of when our system goes back to a survival mode? When we're in survival, we're scared, we're defensive, we're in denial, all these things happen, right? So we can be having a great day at work and then we look up and we go, oh, I'm going to be later than I thought. And you've already told your partner, I'm going to be home by 6. And you look at the clock and there's that moment, right? And it's 5:55, you're not going to be home. And right then you see that they're calling and they say, hey, are you still going to be home at 6? And you panic. You're like, I told him I made that commitment. And you just blurt, yeah, I am. Why are you calling? There's the blurt. And then you go,
like you're not even thinking it.
No,
you're just saying it.
It's a survival mechanism.
Yes.
And it's like, wow, wait a minute. I just blurted, I am so sorry. Literally sitting at my office desk, I'm not getting home by 6. I am sorry. And if the partner can understand what they're trying to improve is staying out of survival and staying in the reality that's where connection is, then they're going to have to work on that. They're going to have to just expel the lie, just blurt the lie out, ignore it, get rid of it, as long as the repair is quickly followed. Like in that situation, it's just quickly followed with, wait, I'm not going to be home.
Gosh, as you're saying that, I'm thinking that is a skill in and of itself to say, all right, here's the lie. And I immediately catch myself and say, hold on, that was a lie. I'm actually still at the desk. I'm not going to be home. I mean, that requires a level of vulnerability and trust in the person that blurted the lie, right? Like, all right, I'm going to do the thing and I'm just going to come clean and tell you what it is. But I hear what you're saying is that is the consistent honesty, like, right? Over time, that's where we can start saying, okay, there's trust here. It's those little things that start to build trust. Right.
It really is, because in that new relationship, there can't be secrets. secrets are the foundation of lies.
Yeah.
And so if you have a situation in that new relationships, here's how it would look as well. The individual with the sex addiction comes home and he goes, I got to tell you something. Yesterday, I had the one tough day at work, and I came home and the house was crazy, and I committed. I genuinely committed. I'm all in. And I helped, and I, grabbed this kid, and I did this. And by the end of the night, I was really hurting because you didn't know how bad my day was. Mm-hmm. And I even put the kids to bed and let you take a bath. For the first half of the day, I was sitting in resentment. Whole first half of my day. Up until lunch, when I took a walk, I was so resentful. And I just had to shake off that resentment and remember, we're in this together. You're going to have bad days. I'm going to have bad days. And so that, Lindsay, that doesn't sound like a huge secret, right?
Right.
But honestly, if that's kept inside and not just shared, then the wife's going to feel it, or the husband's going to feel it. Mm. And the opportunity's missed for the wife to say, honestly, I knew you had planned to go golfing with your buddies on Saturday and you haven't been for a while. And I was all good with it until I woke up and one kid was throwing up and the other one wasn't. And I was resenting you for what I actually agreed was a good thing for you to do. Go golf with your buddies. So we're both trying to improve that. I get it. And I want you to know I appreciate what you did last night. So now the opportunity to be connecting to each other is there. And the resentment was also there. They were both resenting, but
yes,
in a beautiful way, they both did their own work to move away from it and owned it.
That's what I was just going to say. They owned it. I mean, they were aware of what was going on inside of them. They didn't look to blame or to criticize or to get defensive. They just owned, this is what's going on for me. I mean, I think that is such a big part of healing, is going, this is what my experience is. This is what's going on for me, and to own it, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of try to point fingers or deflect or to minimize or, try to push it away, but say, this is what's going on for me. I mean, I hear that and I just think courage.
Yes.
That takes a tremendous amount of courage because it's vulnerable.
Yeah.
And because you don't know how it's going to be received. And you're saying, yeah, this is my experience and this is where I'm at right now. I mean, that insight and courage, and that's hard to come by. And probably something that has to be definitely, I shouldn't say hard to come by, something that has to be worked on and practiced.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I find that courage almost, it almost always comes with fear. Mm-hmm. You've got to be courageous even though you're scared.
Yeah.
But
that's where you're saying trust is rebuilt.
Yes.
Trust is rebuilt with courage, even with fear, consistency, honesty, with empathy over time. Yes. I love that.
Yeah.
So let's look at this. When you think about a healing journey, I know you've had so many couples that you've worked with. What does that look like? I know it's different for everybody, but what does it look like?
I had a great example in my office this week. I had a couple that's been doing the hard work and making some good progress. And as they're improving, they've had some spectacular fails.
Right. Part of the deal. Good progress with spectacular fails.
Yeah. And they were sharing about the weekend and that they'd been with her parents. And he said, I need to figure out how to golf with your dad. And he really was saying it from a place of, I need to do this work. Well, he has a long history of blaming her for anything that goes wrong. Anything. So she didn't hear that I want to own this. I blew up. They had a situation on the golf course. He blew up and she didn't hear that first sentence. So she started asking these questions, like specifically, what did my dad say that upset you? And it started to be very interrogative, where she was trying to find out really where she was going to get blamed.
Well, and by the way, let's just say Like that makes sense if that's what's happened over and over again,
Yep,
right?
absolutely.
You're like, oh, I've got to get this defense up because I'm going to be attacked. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so within seconds, almost before we could even stop it, right before my eyes, he's trying to, answer these couple of questions, and then he just blew up and said something pretty caustic to her. And then she said, I just know you're going to say that I was wrong and I didn't do anything wrong. So we just stopped. We took a few breaths. So he went from a really healthy, I want to connect with you, to when her part that's trying to survive and has that felt memory, recent memory of being blamed showed up. He went to survival, she went to survival, and it was game over.
Yep.
And I said, guys, did you...
This happened in your office, by the way? Okay.
Yeah, just on Monday. And what happened then is we looked at the fact that he had started in a good place. And he really did share. I realized that whole confrontation with your dad, I had the ability to just walk away from it, and I didn't. I did not. And so owning that, I said, I heard him say that. He actually, said that at the beginning. So let's just not even worry about that messy past that you went to, that past behavior. Let's not even worry about it. Let's just pick out the things that happen. And so she talked about her fear of being blamed. And so I asked him, are you going to blame her? She's worried that maybe not now, maybe on the ride home, maybe later tonight. And he took a second and he said, I know what she's talking about because I have blamed her. And I'm not in that headspace. I don't know if I can explain it. And that's pretty common. A lot of times with somebody coming out of an addiction and they're in this new space, they're like, I'm not sure I'm explaining this right. All I know is I'm not going to be that guy. And she has she doesn't have enough time and consistency to believe that, but somewhere inside of him, he knew that, and that's how it happens. And so we talked about that, and we talked about how when that part of her shows up, the best thing to do is start the conversation with, I really am trying to improve my relationship with your dad and how I behave. And I'm not going to blame you. I'm not going to blame you. So
what I'm hearing right there, though, is that he is like broadcasting safety.
Yes.
Like, I am not going to blame you, because he knows that's what he's done in the past.
A great way to say it, Lindsay. He's broadcasting safety.
Yeah. Yes. And so then maybe her nervous system can calm down a minute and say, okay, he's not going to blame me. He knows this was a him thing going on with my dad. This wasn't about me. So I can take a deep breath and I can be here. I can sit in this with him.
Yeah. And that's the part that I would say that couples that are, post addiction, where they've really kind of gotten in their stride, they have a shared reality. They have a shared reality about where are we at really. And for her, and again, and he owns it, truly their entire marriage, he has blamed her. And so, of course, that part is going to want to just parse out, what part are you going to blame me for, right? So the conversation in that shared reality might need to just have him not sharing. The focus of the conversation may need to be on, honey, I'm not going to blame you. And if you need to hear that a few more times, or if we need to just sit with each other and let you talk about how that felt, I can hold that conversation now. Can you trust me and give me a shot? Share with me how it feels right now for you in our shared reality. How does that feel now that I have blamed you for so long? And when you're early in addiction, you don't have a shared reality like that.
I think that is so key. Is the healing journey requires a shared reality for both partners to say, this is what happened.
Yeah.
This is real. This is the hurt that it caused. This is the experiences that we've been through, and that both are living in reality.
Yes.
Right? I mean, that's a huge deal, because
Yes.
if it's like there's still justification, defensiveness, trying to manage expectations or the way people view you, well, then we're not going to be moving forward in that way.
Right.
Yeah.
And in that too, she had to own, hey, this part is coming up. And if he would have defended, yeah, you didn't even let me finish, which that was accurate. Mm-hmm. Fair enough. She didn't. That part got scared and it jumped right into the conversation. But if he had to defend that because now I'm right, you didn't let me finish, so you're doing something wrong, oh man, the wheels go off like they did.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely. But again, such a good reminder is, what I'm hearing again, and where the reminder is, gosh, a common humility, that you're giving each other grace and saying, you know what, I just had this part of me show up and I'm totally afraid you're going to blame me. Mm-hmm. And him going, yeah, it makes sense. I can see why. And I mean, again, it's like the relationship and each other are more important than being right. And them defending and being in the right, but saying, no, it makes sense. Yep.
Yeah. And the important thing on in this situation is not to wait until that feeling of wanting to blame comes up. It's noticing situations where you go, you know what, hun, the headspace I'm in, I can feel like I'm going to get really close to that old bad behavior of blaming you. And it doesn't even feel like a difficult situation, but there's something going on inside of me that I want to ignore. I just want to ignore it and push it off on you. And those are times to allow that person maybe to work through it a bit longer on their own. The partner kind of wants to jump in and try to fix it or make that right, or it brings up fear in them. And it's like, what do you need from me right now? And if the person that's working on that says, I think I need to have some time by myself. I think I need to work, or I need to call a sponsor. I'm going to call Kathy and make it a session because I'm not sure why this is coming up for this. This doesn't seem to warrant such a big reaction inside of me. Yeah.
But that's when there's more work to do.
Yes.
Right? That's the indicator. If you have that kind of response and maybe the situation doesn't warrant it, well, then let's get curious and figure out what's going on, because there's something deeper often, right? Yeah. So, Kathy, have you seen examples where couples not only healed but became stronger?
Quite a few.
Can we just take a minute when you say that? When you say quite a few, that's so hopeful.
Yeah.
That you've actually seen couples not just heal, but become stronger.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really, that gets to the heart of this question. Like, can you actually heal from it? And you're saying not only you can, but you can become stronger.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, our bodies know how to heal themselves. If we get a scratch, we're not telling our body, here's how to heal it. It just heals, right? And so I think we naturally move towards healing when we can take accountability, when we can show up and recognize who we really are in the moment. And so I believe as humans, we naturally kind of move towards wanting healing if we have an opportunity to see what it looks like and have the right skills.
I love that. That's such a good reminder that we're meant to heal. Yeah. Like, that's how we're actually programmed, and that we just need to have some often assistance along the way to get there.
Yeah.
Safety and some assistance.
And it gets so messy in the middle. It gets so messy in the process of recovery. When you're out of the shock phase and you're into kind of the grief part of recovery, when you're mourning the true losses that you've both experienced, both partners don't trust each other. The one partner may very well have been trustworthy through their whole marriage, but for a lot of reasons, maybe the addicts never had experience being able to trust people. So somebody can be trustworthy or safe for you, but you don't view them that way. And so they have to learn, they have to own, I don't feel safe to my partner yet. And they've got some work to do there to see me as a safe person.
Isn't that interesting? Again,
Yeah.
It's not just the work of the addicted partner, but it's the work of the partner that's been betrayed. Is to say there's work to be done to build safety and trust again. Even if the addicted partner is is not acting out, is in recovery or is in sobriety, like that takes some effort big effort on both parts.
It really does. And one of the traits of somebody actively in their addiction is uniqueness. Like, I've tried everything and it doesn't help. And that's early recovery. And when you're in a relationship with somebody like that, you're trying to solve for them. Usually, well, I'll help them do this or that or that. And they're just, well, nothing helps me. When you get into farther along in recovery, that defense mechanism of uniqueness just goes away. And they're so open to considering what they're hearing from you. They at the beginning, I was talking to one of my guys last week in group. We had such a great group. Group is so powerful.
It is so powerful.
It's so powerful.
Why do you think
healing.
it is? I'm curious your thoughts.
Because we need a witness to our story. And when we have that shared story of being addicted to something, we gather around and we can witness that story. It's so powerful. And group can work beautifully when you see men, reach out to each other or just say in group, I think I hear you blaming your wife. I am doing that right now. I'm doing that.
Someone calls someone out, but lovingly, right? They're in it together. They see, because they've probably blamed their wife too.
Oh yeah.
So they see it in somebody else.
Yeah.
Group is so helpful in healing and understanding sexual addiction. I've seen it. I've witnessed it. And seen people who have gone through it. And like you said, to know you're not in this isolated experience alone, but there are others that have experienced it. There is tremendous amount of healing that goes on.
There really is. And in the particular group I've been in, we're not really talking about addiction anymore. It's really about relationship because they've moved past the active addiction. And now their questions are, I don't know how to end a conversation when it goes south, because in the past I've run away when my wife starts talking. I've either literally gotten in my car and drove away or just walked out of the room. So how do I in a healthy way end a conversation before it gets sideways? Well, that's not about addiction.
That's about relationship.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what I say when I have witnessed it and experienced others in group settings like that. Boy, it's like we're not in the weeds anymore. We're actually kind of higher level, seeing like, oh, this is how I want to show up in the world, in relationships. Yeah. It's an amazing process to watch happen. Yeah. And when you talk about group, how long have these people been in group with you?
Well,
long time,
this
right?
particular group, they have not wanted to end. They just haven't. So it's been 2.5 years now, I think. And they're the community there, they're so, it gets me emotional because they're trying so hard to improve. They're trying so hard to lift each other. And when one of them wins, they all win. And when one of them's struggling with a situation at home, they're just rooting for them. And they're, call me, dude, you can call me. Hey, I can talk to you later. And they're just trying to be their best.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Isn't that inspiring?
Yeah.
Like that's one of those, this is why we do the work we do.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. So if someone listening is in this situation right now, what words of hope would you want to leave them with?
I would say that, language is really powerful. And sometimes it helps a couple to say, we're going to be in recovery, all of our days. That can be really beautiful and positive and uplifting. And some couples, it doesn't feel positive or uplifting at all. And so they might have to change it to, we're gonna move towards healthy living for the rest of our days. And so as you move along the spectrum, you look at the language that you're using, and it can really help to see, oh, this is just healthy living. And so, of course, healthy living has no endpoint where we've achieved it and we get to stand on the, center pedestal and say we've got the goal. But there is, so I would say as you move through it, the hope is that the desire from both of you is let's live a healthy life together.
I love that. Let's live a healthy life together, and look at the language you're using. It matters, right? Thank you so much for your thoughts and insights. You've had so much experience in this, and really appreciate you. I really feel like providing hope for this listener, and hopefully they felt that and felt some hope that, they may be in the messy middle. They may be at the beginning of recovery, and it's hard, right? There's work. It's a long road, but it is possible. Appreciate that hope you provided. A couple of things I just want to go over that you talked about, that, improving versus proving. I love that. When you're in a place of improving and not trying to prove yourself, your worth, that okay, we're working towards recovery. Things are getting better. Consistent honesty with empathy over time. That sounds like an equation. Consistent honesty plus empathy over time. I love that. Equals what? Recovery equals sobriety.
Trust.
Trust equals trust. Good. I love that. I mean, I think that's an important thing to say. Am I seeing consistent honesty with empathy over time? Okay, I can start trusting again. That's excellent. The healing journey includes reality sharing, and that we are saying, yes, this is real. We both own it. This is where we're at, and to honor that. And then to look at the language you're using and to be really aware of that. I really think that recovery is not about going back to the way things were. It's about creating a new marriage and build on honesty, consistency with empathy over time. I love that. Kathy, thank you so much for your insights and being here. And I hope that this provided hope, and it provided a framework to not just say it can be done, but it does happen. And there is hope for a better reality and a better marriage and a new marriage, a different marriage than what this listener has had before. We appreciate you listening and tuning in. If this was helpful for you or someone you love, please share it and like and subscribe. It helps us to continue to do this podcast and share mental health resources for all of you. Until next time, take care.